Do you believe that the number 13 is unlucky? It is believed that the number 13 brings bad luck. But is there a reason for this? Why 13 and not 12 or 14? From a mathematical perspective, 13 is actually quite a special number. First of all, it is a prime number, but not just any prime number. It is also the first emerp. An emerp is a prime number that remains prime when its digits are reversed. Prime, emerp. Get it? Both 13 and 31 are prime and emerp numbers. 13 is also a Fibonacci number, which links it to the golden ratio. There are a total of 13 Archimedean solids classified by Archimedes. So why is it also considered unlucky? Why are some people deathly afraid of this number? I'm not exaggerating. Maybe you've noticed it in hotel elevators. There is no 13th floor. Well, the button is missing at least. Someone pressing the 14th floor button might not realize they are actually staying on the 13th floor. In China, however, the numbers 4 and 14 are considered unlucky, so finding your way around can sometimes be tricky. For example, if you're staying at a hotel in Shanghai and you're afraid of 13, I wouldn't recommend pressing the 16th floor button. In some places around the world, the number 13 is avoided by writing 12 plus 1, or 12A, instead. This fear can even influence building construction. Suppose you have such a fear and go to a hospital for treatment. You might not find a room numbered 13. But is this really a fear that requires treatment? For some people, yes. In fact, in 1910, psychiatrist Isidore Coriat even named this fear triskaidekaphobia, the fear of the number 13. There is even a separate term for the fear of Friday the 13th, frigatriskaidekaphobia. It is said that around 20 million people suffer from this fear. So, where does this fear of 13 come from? Does it have a source? Of course it does. When researching the origins of this fear, we come across a very famous work of art, The Last Supper. Leonardo da Vinci's renowned painting depicts the final meal of Jesus before his crucifixion, according to Christian belief. In the painting, we see the moment when Jesus reveals the disciple who will betray him. That's why the apostles have shocked expressions, as if asking, "How?" Did you notice that there are 13 people around the table? The last to join was Judas, the disciple who betrayed Jesus. In other words, the 13th person. For this reason, even today, some luxury restaurants do not allow 13 people to sit at the same table. However, it would not be entirely accurate to attribute this belief solely to Christianity, as the Bible does not mention anything about it. So, we must go even further back in history to find the true origin. Exactly 3,800 years ago, in Mesopotamia, a similar situation occurred in one of history's oldest and best-preserved legal codes, the Code of Hammurabi. Hammurabi's laws consist of 282 articles, but the 13th article is missing. Even back then, the number 13 was considered unlucky. However, this is also a debated topic. We can't be entirely sure that the 13th article was deliberately omitted. Still, we see similar things in myths and legends from that era. For example, the Persians would not leave their homes on the 13th of any month. In a Babylonian poem called the Song of Ishtar, the 13th verse mentions the goddess of death. In tarot cards, the 13th card represents death. Going even further back, we reach Norse mythology. According to legend, 12 gods were invited to a banquet in Valhalla. Everything was going well until Loki, the 13th guest, arrived uninvited. Soon after, one of the greatest gods, Balder, was killed. Once again, the 13th person brought disaster. Although I couldn't find definitive proof supporting this claim in my research, something caught my attention. The unlucky god's name was Loki. And in English, this sounds quite similar to luck. Maybe 13 should actually be considered a lucky number. After all, in many cultures, the age of 13 marks the transition to maturity. Maybe you've noticed the PG-13 label on movies. This means they are suitable for audiences age 13 and up. You must be at least 13 years old to sign up for platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So, should we consider this a sign of good luck or bad luck? At 13, many new possibilities open up, but it's also the age when childhood ends. Studies show that about 10% of Americans have triskaidekaphobia, the fear of the number 13. But interestingly, the United States was founded by 13 colonies. That's why the number 13 appears multiple times on US currency. The unfinished pyramid has 13 steps. The motto above it has 13 letters. The eagle holds 13 arrows. The olive branch has 13 leaves. In the 1880s, an organization called the 13 Club was founded to challenge this superstition. Even US presidents were among its members. They would gather on the 13th of each month and dine in groups of 13. And guess what? The 13th person didn't die. In conclusion, it is impossible to directly associate the number 13 with death. Whether a number is lucky or unlucky depends entirely on our perspective. Because the human brain constantly looks for patterns in the world, order or chaos. And when it finds one, it connects the dots and forms a bigger picture. But is that picture real or just an illusion? Maybe we should ask artists this question. Someone like Leonardo da Vinci, who saw and painted grand visions. Or Taylor Swift. Yes, you heard that right. The famous pop singer Taylor Swift chose at Taylor Swift 13 as her Twitter handle. She was born on December 13th. Her debut album went gold in exactly 13 weeks, and she even writes the number 13 on her hand before concerts. And here's the most interesting part. Her song, The Lucky One, is the 13th track on her Red album. The word lucky appears exactly 13 times in the song, and the track starts precisely at the 13-second mark. So whether the number 13 is lucky or unlucky is entirely up to you. Isn't that right?